Welcome to the Ramblings of Seven. Another journal entry for y'all. Sorry about the sound. I'm kind of doing stuff as I do this. So, for anybody who has listened to my entire experience, more and more things are uncovered, and it is such an exciting time right now. I mean, if you're listening to this, then who knows where you are. I guess I'll just talk because that's the purpose. And that is that there's so many cycles all the time going around. It's all everything is cycles. And the only way for us to grow, expand, whatever you want to, enlightenment, whatever you want to call it, for us to move forward in what we are meant to, we have to fulfill certain experiences, for one, in order to raise our vibration, raise our understanding, raise our level of consciousness, in order to really understand, to have our brain think that it has a grasp on what is going on, which, as that happens, then we enter into a realm of more having to explain to the brain what's going on. Consciousness is an amazing thing that humanity has tried to dub down, has tried to really stifle, because if each and every one of us knew truly how capable we were of creating the realities around us, how much we actually do it, and learn to actually use that in our day-to-day lives, if all of us did that as we're all going into, the world's going to be so much different. It's going to be so wonderful. Consciousness is a magnificent thing that we don't give enough to. Just different things I've heard, like how I can't stand myself anymore. I can't live with myself anymore. Think about that statement. What are you saying? I, meaning I being the me, can't live with myself. Myself being another aspect, another part of all of this. That's what you're referring to. When a person says that, we're referring to different aspects of ourselves. It's just these little understandings that we never pay attention to, so we never grasp. So anyways, anybody who's been on board with my experience knows the twin flame and how it's been jumping back and forth and all that. And so where we're at is we're trying to create a twin flame experience because it was what at the time made sense for our connection. I have come to an understanding that I am a wandering spirit, a wandering soul. I feel like I have accomplished, I've experienced most if not all things, such as as soon as I start engaging myself into something, then it's like very quickly I have a very broad understanding of the subject. Very quickly I mold myself into that aspect without much resistance. And so I'm just here to have fun, is really what it comes down to. I'm here to take advantage of the shift that is happening in Gaia, and if I run into a being on the same frequency that I can help, then I'm down. And in this case, goddess. So there's, within this aspect, there's, of course, I, which would be her. I'm talking about goddess, my twin flame, my soul sister, we have always shared that we know ourselves, like she knows me as self that is one, and I know her as self that is one. Like, she is a magnificent part of me. And I never really understood why, and it's because we're from the same soul family. It's because we are of the same ascended aspect. As her experience is now fulfilling certain experiences within Goddess Sophia, and that Akashic aspect, I am moving into my service to others and healing. I am learning Reiki in this moment. I'm getting downloads. I'm learning what I need to know so I can apply it when it is time, because the time is coming. The time for our consciousness to expand to a point where we manifest everything at our fingertips is coming. And there are certain things that we need to process past and get over in order to get there. That's where we're at. That's what we're working on. That's what I'm working on, at least. I don't know what you're working on, but I'm hoping you're getting there. As you know, I've had this really strong, long problem with nicotine. And I went from, prior to my escaping the coast and the terrible tsunami that was coming, I was vaping a little bit. And then I was trying to quit smoking for the entire 9 months that we were on our trip. And fail. And then I got back here and I quit smoking and started vaping again. And then the night that this hurt my ego so much, the human aspect was so darn destroyed over the last few days, these few dark days that I've been in this processing segment here. The aspect known as collection is but an Akashic memory now. The purpose within that aspect has been fulfilled, and essentially all of self being self, and the egoic duality aspect that must be there in order to cause opposition and expansion, pretty much just kicked him out. It seems like this vessel is no longer suitable for that frequency as I continue to raise my frequency and maintain other levels. So anyways, I was planning on quitting vaping that night, and I did. For 3 days, two and a half, I think it was, I was able to avoid nicotine and not vape, and then under the crushing pressure of everything else within that emotional distress that I was in, I ended up vaping again. And now today I bought zero for nicotine, so it's just the propylene glycol and vegetable glycerin and the vape, plus a wonderful cotton candy flavor that doesn't really get old, and I can still practice O's and other human wonders, I guess. I'm moving into a point where I realize I need to find patterns that are more acceptable, even if they're not necessarily the right ones. They're more acceptable than the ones that I'm in, so that I am overcoming the things that will hold me back. I don't feel like I can practice Reiki on someone else, helping heal them and make them pure and whole, if I'm not pure and whole in myself, which I understand I will never be pure and whole in myself. There's always little things here and there, but the things that I hold myself most accountable to are the things that I feel like I need to dissolve and release in order to more fully be the person I need to for this purpose. So, a wonderful zero. I love it. I love the taste. Cotton candy. I'm not trying to upsell anything, so I won't say any brands. You ever think about like how the crystals feel when you give them or put them over to natural things, like even that right there, like vaping on them. Do you think they feel a certain way? Do you think they have any kind of uh, desire not to be or to be or any of that? Do you think it affects their vibrational resonance, the frequency that they put off? I mean, this expansion of consciousness really leads to a lot of questions and understandings that I'd like to have clarity in, a lot of expansion and, um, you know, just understanding. It's so great. It's so great to want to expand your consciousness. So now, my soul sister, we realize and accept that we've had a bunch of lifetimes together, experiences together, and that we will continue to. We are growing. It's interesting. So, have you ever thought of the crystal grids and how if you take and lay out a grid with intention, and you know that intention, you're aware of that intention, then you can just leave that grid to do its work, and it will maintain focus and resonance and increase attraction or manifestation of the intention that you have set. And honestly, a crystal grid is just putting further intention using more things around you. People every day do exactly that same thing by thinking of something that they desire or a dream or working towards something and creating that. They're focusing on it, they're setting intention on it, and eventually they manifest it. It's really interesting to think about how our consciousness is so expansive that we literally create what is around us. If you sit there and think about being sick, you're going to be sick. If you sit there and think about being wealthy, then you're going to be taking moves to make yourself wealthy. It's a really incredible understanding. So this is the expansion of consciousness that I'm going to share for now. I feel like there's some fourth dimensional things going on. Being attracted because I'm charging my staff. You guys have a wonderful night. I'm going to anchor some light. I'm going to write down some routines that I plan on starting to fulfill and probably work on some sacred geometry. Hope all of you have a wonderful night. I hope all of you have a wonderful day. I hope anybody who has listened to this has received it well. Those who have ears to hear, please hear. Those who have eyes to see, check out my crystals. Soon, I'll be opening a Etsy store, and I'll be offering tarot readings, and I'll be offering, honestly, like traveling Reiki. I'm full supporter of the long distance Reiki healing. However, I feel the call to travel and do it and go see stuff and see people and really be hands-on. I plan on getting another vehicle, finding a place to park my RV, or selling it and getting a apartment eventually. Somewhere it's more like home base. I'd rather keep the RV on a piece of land. And then getting a vehicle so I can travel around and go heal some people and help some people out and, get some light anchored in here. Yeah, expand this consciousness. All of our consciousness. Consciousness is the key. Balancing thought and love. Making your mind understand the things that it doesn't think it can. That's expanding your consciousness. Sorry, I got the hiccups. Have a wonderful night, y'all. May peace be with you.